I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm fired up, and all the other type of things you can describe someone's enthusiasm. You can actually put the side lights on, guys. It's a little dark, man. I don't see anybody's faces. Oh, there we go. Hello, friends. Hello. Ain't no stopping me. Hey, we are kicking off a new series today. I'm so excited for this series. I can't even tell you how excited I am. And because I know that there's going to be some life change involved. Whether you want it or not, I think sometimes. We're starting with this new series called I Declare War. I Declare War is a book written by Levi Lusko. Levi Lusko wrote a book called Swipe Right that we did last year. The life and death power of sex and romance. I know all of you guys were excited about that one. But this book is called Declare War. And what I love about it, you can put up that other image up. It shows like the book. So the book is called 4 Keys to Winning the Battle with Yourself. 4 Keys to Winning the Battle with Yourself. And you're like, well, that's really, am I in struggle with myself? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because there's 3 areas in which we find ourselves struggling with. There's 3 areas. The first one, yes, it's the enemy. It's the devil. Yes, he is our enemy. He's coming against us. He's going to try everything he can. He's studying you. He's watching you. He's going to do everything he possibly can to destroy, distract, and divide you from your Creator. And there's another one out there. It's called the world. The world. I'm not talking about like the environment, the sun, the moon, the stars, what you're walking on or what you can feel with your hands. I'm talking about a worldview that is out there that is trying to get you to say yes to things or allow you to enter into things or get you to compromise on your principles of things because the culture says it's okay. That's the world. And then there's your flesh. The Bible talks about the natural man within you or woman. But that person within you, it is the old self. It is the self that needs constant renewing. It is a self that is going to be trying to grab you and pull you back into the ways that you've been practicing for so long. And so this series is going to be geared specifically on 4 different things. It is progressive. So if you're here today, do not miss the next 4 weeks because you're going to miss out. And if you have something planned, and I have some visitors here from Holland. What's up? They can catch it online. I'm just kidding. But the biggest thing about this, we have to understand that the Christian life is not a playground. It is a battleground. And the sooner you come to realize that the struggle that you have is because there's an enemy who's going against you and wants to steal, kill, and destroy you, the better you're equipped. Because the best way, George Washington said this the best. He said that we, if prepared for war, it most ensures our peace. It's a greater way to ensure peace if you're prepared for war. Ronald Reagan said it good. He said, peace through strength. Peace through strength. That's how we will roll. That's how we need to be. We, the church, need to roll like that. So many times we've been rolling on the ground, complaining or crying because we have been pushed down and pushed back, and that we've been attacked so much that we feel almost helpless. And so what I'm telling you, that the next 4 weeks, we're going to be getting into the keys to winning that battle within yourself, because it starts with you. It starts with you. And because first of all, we have this tendency to self-sabotage ourselves. You guys know what self-sabotage is? So I want to illustrate this to you. There's a street artist named Banksy. In about September, Banksy. His name is Banksy. I don't know. It's his name. So he's a street artist. But he's based out in the United Kingdom, and he's known for his controversial political art. And people loved his stuff. And the thing is about the art world, people, if they like it, they want to buy it, right? Well, he did his art on actually walls and property of others. And so some people got upset, but they're like, wait a minute, this is some cool stuff. People like it. So people were actually stealing it off the wall. Like they were removing pieces of wall so they can have his art. And he became like very, very popular with his art. And so he had this art thing, and it was at Sotheby's. You guys know what Sotheby's is? Probably not, because I didn't know either. So Sotheby's is an auction house. An auction house is a place where they actually purchase art. They bid on art. And so I wanted to illustrate this for you because he created a painting. It was called Girl with Balloon. And so the painting was really cool. I really liked the painting. It was really nice. It was simple, and it made impact. And the only color was the balloon. Nice bright red. But there was something about that day when they were auctioning off, and this video, I want to show you a clip right here. Go ahead and hit it. The crazy thing about that, about what happened, is that the painting, as they were auctioning off and it hits, you know what sold for $1.4 million? It sold for $1.4 million. And immediately as the gavel hit, it went, it started shredding itself. In itself, and the funny thing is you see the security guards kind of run to bring it off. Like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then security, why was security there? The security there is to protect the painting from the people, right? But they didn't know they needed to protect the painting from itself. There's so many times in our lives that we look outside of ourselves, yet we are the ones who are self-sabotaging our own purpose because of what we think, what we say, what we do. And today, I want to tell you this, is that we can be our own worst enemy. We can all be our own worst enemy. We can be a traitor to our own progress. We can be a traitor to our own progress. And when we do these things, so these battles that we have, it could be an anxiety that we have. It could be moodiness. And in the book, it talks about this is you being held hostage by the version of you that you don't want to be. Being held hostage by that. It could be suicidal thoughts. It could be overeating. It could be, trying to feel something and you're cutting yourself. It could be things very small, but it also can be mind-numbing agents. It could be alcohol. It could be drugs. Many other things that we can self-sabotage ourselves with. We do things every day that are not good for us. And in the annals of medicine, there is a statistic. It says out of 100 people who receive a prescription, they say 1/3 of the people actually fill it. Actually fill it. They actually get the prescription and they go and they fill it. And the other third actually would fill it, but not take it. And the crazy thing about it is that either they not take it or they don't take it as prescribed. I had a bout with that. I had 10 days of amoxicillin, and I only went 8. I'm a statistic. But when we look at that, it's like, what was crazy is that this also pertains to anti-rejection medicine. Meaning if you had a transplant of a liver or a kidney, and they provided you medicine, some of these people were taking it for a certain period of time and then stop because they felt better on the outside. And so we do things in our lives that self-sabotage us. And I want to provide you context for the 4 keys to winning the battle within. And I'm telling you right now, church, it starts with a declaration of war. it starts with a declaration of war. There is an incredible power in wholeheartedly walking in a singular direction. There's incredible power in making a statement and a stand and not doing things half-heartedly. In the book, there is an area here. I want to point this out. It says, the things holding me back. And you're writing it down. And it says, I declare war on this day. I also gave you something at your seat. It looks like this handout. This here can be the catalyst to God delivering you in the next 4 weeks. Because on this, you're going to truthfully, unsanitized, provide the low down and dirty of what you're struggling with. And on this list, because you need accountability, you're going to seek someone out. And you're going to ask them, hey, can you help me be accountable? Can you pray for me? Can you meet with me? Because it takes us to say, I declare war on this area for you to gain ground and for you to heal from. It's a war contract. I love that. It's a war contract. And when you declare war, and you get to that place of declaring war, the wolf will rise up in you. The tenacity. I know you're not excited about wolves. I can tell. Your faces. You're like, hey man, why wolf? I don't want to be a wolf. They're big and bad. The 3 Little Pigs told me. And, the Bible says that, I'll bring out wolves in sheep's clothing. I set you. But also in the same passage, it says, you need to be wise as serpents. So why would we not want to take these attributes of God's creation, because God created it, and allow the enemy to twist it and paint a picture in it, and allow you to throw out the wolf with the bathwater, and not really see the comparison to how we can look at these attributes? Because I'll tell you about wolves. I did a little bit of research on wolves. Wolves are highly intelligent. They're highly adaptable to their surroundings. They're very loving and nurturing. They even, if a mama wolf died and there were pups, and another pack came along, they would care for the pups. Lions don't even do that. And we think of lions like the Lion of Judah. And we think of lions as being so awesome. But lions will kill the entire young in a pride. But not wolves. Wolves will care and almost adopt them into their family. There are some attributes within the wolf. So when I'm saying the wolf rises within you, there is a tenacity, there's an intelligence. There is loving and nurturing everything you're destined to be. Everything that you're destined to be. And how this really comes out is because there's President Teddy Roosevelt. He described, actually it's crazy with Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt, he had a lot of firsts. When I say a lot of firsts, he was the first president to own a telephone. He was the first president to be submerged in a submarine. He was the first president to be nominated and get not only president, but also American to get the Nobel Peace Prize. He also was the first president to be given, nominated and given posthumously the Medal of Honor. In that battle that he was nominated for was the Battle of San Juan Hill during the Spanish-American War back in the 1890s. In July 1st, 1898, he who was growing up, he was really not really strong. He was always small for his age. And he was always kind of sickly. And also, he was a late bloomer. I was one of them. So I was always small. I was 4'11" when I started high school. Yes. Yes. They said they would tell me the elementary school was over there as a freshman. And I had a temper. I want to punch people in their lip because they had. Anyways, so Teddy Roosevelt, he always believed that he had something to prove and really push on. But on that day on San Juan Hill, he was put to the test. He recounts in his journal that there was a point where they were running up, and this is when you're scaling a hill, and the enemy's on top, and the vantage point to be able to shoot down. He had a point where he had to cross these barbed wire, and his horse, because he was known as the Rough Riders, needed to jump across, and then he knew that he needed to commit. And at that moment, he felt as if a wolf was rising within him. And this is the picture I wanted to paint for you is so that you can get an idea of how you need to be in attacking this area of your lives. Allow the wolf to rise up. So the title of this message is Think Like a Wolf. Think like a wolf. Because you are what you think. And in Proverbs 23:7, it says, for a man thinketh, so he is. And you can change the way you feel, but by changing the way you think. You don't have to think about everything you feel, but let me tell you, church, you will feel everything you think about. I'm going to repeat it again, since I did not say it right, so let me repeat it. You don't have to think about everything you feel, but you will feel everything you think about. There's so many struggles that would come from our feelings. And surprisingly large degree, we have to understand that we hold the reins on our emotions. All the emotions that we allow in our mind. How you fight your inner war determines how you fight your external battles. How you fight your inner war determines how you fight your external battles. And the wise words from Po, from Kung Fu Panda. He said, before battle of fist must come battle of mind. I want you to write this down. Negative thoughts can't lead to a positive life. Negative thoughts cannot lead to a positive life. Where the head goes, the body must follow. You've heard that, right? You also heard in boxing, it's like, where the body goes, the head must follow. There's so many verses about the stress that we experience of our minds. There's so many verses that we can pull out. Just a few. There's Colossians chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. It says, if then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is, sitting at the right hand of God, and set your mind on things above, not things on earth. It also says in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it says, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And in Matthew 22, verse 37, it says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all of your mind. I'm not saying mind over matter will fix everything. But I am saying that what's in your mind does matter. What in your mind does matter. Positive thinking can't be a replacement for God. It is a response to Him. It is our response to Him. You know, the other problem with negativity is that it begets more negativity. Because what you look for, you will find. What you look for, you will find. There's this saying, and this quote I have, it's from Andrew Zwicky. It's really weird. Andrew Zwicky. Andrew Zwicky was a Stanford professor, and he came with a thing called frequency illusion. The frequency illusion is, it says, once you have noticed a phenomenon, you think it happens a whole lot, even all the time. Once you've noticed a phenomenon, you think it happens a whole lot. And even all the time. And you know, when I think about it, it has two parts to that. It's selective attention and confirmation bias. Selective attention and confirmation bias. Well, what's selective attention? Selective attention is something you actually have chosen to think about, and then because you've chosen to think about it, you actually see more of it. And because you see more of it, and there's a confirmation bias where you believe that it happens all the time. Because you're looking for it, you are fulfilling that prophecy over your life. Do you hear me? Because your mind is so fixated on that particular thing, and it could be something that someone rubbed you the wrong way. And now you're looking at every single thing that they're walking by. See, I knew it. Look at their eyes. You see that look they gave me? They didn't even acknowledge me when I came into the room. Well, they probably weren't even looking at you. But because of selective attention and confirmation bias, you almost confirm the fact that your feelings are correct because you're looking for it in the wrong way. And subconsciously, your mind basically gives yourself the pat on the back. And then to say, oh yeah, you, what you're looking for, you found. And because your mind is so geared on that point, you start looking for it more, and your mind starts being hardwired, rehardwired, and hardwired again to start looking for it even more. And what I'm saying, church, is not that this is about an example of how it could be bad for you. But what I'm saying, and the whole thing today, is so you can use this and think of good things, to flip it. To flip it and think of the things that God wants us to think about. You'll see more negative stuff, and you tell yourself that you wanted to do that. And remember, who holds the power to reverse this? The power's in your hands. The power's in your hands to adjust it. You know, this passage in Philippians 4:8, it says, and now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. You can use that same type of selective attention and confirmation bias and flip it and start looking things through the eyes of God. And start looking, fix your eyes on this. Think about these things. Because there's many times in our lives, we're so worried about not doing something that we're always thinking about, that's something we're not supposed to be doing. Don't have sex before your marriage, and all you think about is sex. Don't have that drink, and all you think of is wanting a drink. Don't smoke that, and all you want to do is to pull over and toke. What? You need to flip it. You need to flip it. You need to not think about what you're not supposed to do and start thinking about the things that you can do and you should do. And the Bible here says very clearly that think about the things that are excellent and worthy of praise. And it's impossible to worship if you're worrying all the time. It's impossible to worship if you're worrying all the time. And it's important for you to realize that the battle of the mind starts here, between your ears. And the battle of your thoughts Because you can control. Sometimes you can't control what you're thinking, but you can control what you're thinking about. Meaning, if a thought comes into your head, you have a choice to entertain that thought or allow that thought to be cast out. And what I'm saying today is I want you to declare war on the thing that's keeping you from walking out in God's purpose. And it starts with your mind. It starts here. Because what is here will come out here. What's in here will come out here. And then here. And if you want to change the what you're doing in your life, you have to start here. It has to do with the renewing of your mind. But you have to have, last week I talked about the ability to extract your purpose. But I said this very clearly. I said, you must subtract your pride so God can extract your purpose. God has probably spoken to you many times this week. I know it was me. It was a tough week for me, church. It was trying. And as I'm reading through this book, and I was telling everyone this morning that I try to come across because I can't contain it, is that if you don't show up the next 4 weeks, you'll miss out. But I declare war was for me. And I'm hoping that during these 4 weeks that it can be for you. But I made a decision to declare war. And it will be for me. Because the struggles I experience are maybe not the same type of struggles that you experience. But they're struggles nonetheless. And then we need to let it go. But the first thing that needs to go is your pride. The pride that I can do it. I can speak in front of people. I could talk to people. No, I can't. I can't do it. Not without him. You may be saying, I could provide help to them, but you can't do it without him. It needs a requirement of a renewing of our minds and the constant infilling of God's Spirit. And when you have that infilling of God's Spirit and your spirit starts to change and your mind starts to change, your habits and what you say start to change, and what you do starts to have impact, and now you're finally walking in the purpose that God created you, knit you together specifically in your mother's womb for now, today. But you need to be at a place to release your pride. Let it go. Because the minute you say, I don't have it all together, I do have a battle within myself, and I declare war on this area of my life, that declaration is the releasing of your pride. Because many times we'll keep it in our head and won't write it down because of our pride. In church, there's not enough time to delay your purpose. There's not enough time left to allow the enemy to work. And I say allow the enemy because you allow him to impact you. I wanted to throw back old school. And in this moment, we're going to be coming to the throne of grace. Because in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16, it says, therefore, let us approach the throne of grace with boldness, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us at the proper time. The proper time is now. And the song that that JD's gonna sing is called Create in Me a Clean Heart, O God. This is a throwback for some of you. Some of you may be hearing it for the first time, and that's okay. But there's something about singing the words of God. This song is based on the Psalm of David, Psalm chapter 51. And in this moment, he was struggling with things within himself. He just succumbed to not only looking at someone else's wife, but sleeping with her. And after sleeping with her, he tried to cover it up. And because he tried to cover it up, he committed murder. And he's at the throne of grace coming boldly. And he's asking God to create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit. Because everything starts in your spirit and then manifests out. It starts in your spirit.